Hey, you guys, we are live. Duh, you know that. Happy noon on a Tuesday or noon wherever I am. Hey, today is a super fantastic show. I have one of my favorite people here, Ziggy Salvation, master barber. He's going to come on and tell us what the world is like in the last 20 years standing behind the chair, where we all go for counseling, cheapest counseling ever. You guys are on the Fourfold Formula Mini-Series. This is episode 5, where we bring on our contributing authors to kind of find out a little bit more about their stories. Awesome, inspiring, motivating, make you cry, make you laugh stories. And I'm going to bring in my guy here out of the green room because I heard he is eating M&Ms.
No.
Hi, buddy.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look at you all Rico Suave. Like, it looks like you're in a bar.
This is my office in the middle of my living room.
There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, you'd never know. Like, you walk into the house and it looks like there's a fishing shack. And then you walk on the other side, you see brick walls and Legos. It's great.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Kind of renovated. Is the whole room blocked off like a cave, or is it just like literally door open, or is it just?
It's 4 walls. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh yeah. The when I first got here, she goes, "You're gonna need a place to get away. Build yourself an office." And I was like, "Where?" She's like, "I don't know." I was like, "What do we cut the living room in half?" She goes, "Can you do it?" I'm like, "I don't know. We'll find out. So let's just get some drill bits and tab cons and start throwing 2x4s in the walls."
Oh,
and here we are. So
here we are, darling. All right, for those people that are watching or listening, first of all, we want to say welcome to Ziggy Salvation. You guys, you know, when I was chatting with some people about writing in this book, there's a little bit of, first of all, the book just came out the beginning of this month. It's on Amazon, and we have a couple of announcements coming up, pretty cool announcements. So stay with the show, 30 minutes. You can give us 28 more minutes. And sometimes, Ziggy, when I was talking to people about writing, it was a few things. Like, what do I have to say that anybody would want to hear? What if I say something that upsets somebody? You know, it's this kind of imposter syndrome, maybe. Some people were like, oh, I don't know if I should be an author. I mean, how, you know, that's kind of up there. But when I talked to you about writing, a couple of things came to mind. You were like, heck yeah, I got a lot of stories to tell and I've written them down. And tell us about why, because you've been a master barber for like a couple decades, you know?
yeah, it all started when I'm trying to think. There was a fellow I talked to, and like when I first started cutting hair, an older guy, couldn't tell you his name. I couldn't even tell you what he did, but he said all the great things he had come across through his career. He wished he had just written little tidbits down. He says, and then reflect on it, and then you see your mindset change from when you first start something to when you end it. He's like, because I think he was like in a factory or something. He's like, just how the world changes, people change, society as a whole changes. He's like, all these little things that happen. He says, then being a bystander, you're kind of a fly on the wall for all these people you're interacting with every day. He's like, you see the world change around you, but yours really doesn't change a whole lot as long as you keep your values straight, you know? So I thought that was super fascinating. I'm like, okay, well, this is, if I'm in a, that was before I realized that cutting hair was also a non-licensed therapy session. I was 18, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. And then you have like these 45-year-old dudes telling you some horrible and also some really wonderful things about their lives that they've told no one. And you're like, I'm just some punk kid that like tries to get beer because I'm underage, and you're telling me your life story about some horrible diatribes. You know what I mean? It's just it's mind-boggling what people will open up to when someone's in your personal space for 20 minutes at a time. You know, it's just so I thought that was really interesting. And then as more and more interactions come to pass, I was like, I'm gonna start writing these down. You know what I mean? Just I change people's names. I don't, that way if I ever do something with them, I didn't want their confidentiality to be lost in translation. I want those moments I share with those people to stay just that. You know, because I always tell people, I even tell people where I'm at now, like, if you ever need just a place to BS or get something off your chest, like, stop by, man. We're here 10 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? It gets super busy and you feel awkward and you leave and you come back the next day and talk some more. Like, so what? That's what we're there for. I treat any shop I work at or any shop I may own, I treat them all like Las Vegas. Like, what happens there stays there, and that's it. Like, there's a certain level of confidence a person has to have in you. Even if they told us a thing in barber school that's always kind of resonated. They said you could be a really bad barber, but if you're a good listener, people will come back to you. You could botch them and they'll still come back to you because they know that you give a damn. And that's so rare these days. And it's so true because I've seen some people that are loyal, like down south, that are just getting trashed haircuts. And they're just like, I got to go back to them. They're awesome. They've known me for 20 years. They know my kids, but that's not what it all is for them. It's not just the look. It's so much more.
When you've kind of kept a journal, or you've kept as a guy, I'm just going to say it, writing stuff down isn't a natural process that most men do. Journal or even bullet points or keep a day timer or whatever. So you really kind of listened to him early on because that's young.
I've written since I was 7. Yeah, I've got travel diaries. I've got all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I've written entire novels for whether it's games I played, fan fictions. I mean, I'm right. I can write like that. I can't do a lot of things well. I can cut hair, occasionally tell a dirty joke, but I can write. You know what I mean? Like it's one of the few things.
What more is there in life? What more is there in life? When you're behind the chair, okay, so I think most people know that you're my barber.
Yeah.
Take a look around.
I know.
When I first moved to the town I'm in 2 years ago, obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, I've been going to a beautician right up until this point. And it was really hard along the way to be walking. Sometimes you walk into a beauty salon and you're like, hey, I want a faux hawk or I want a mohawk. And you walk out of there $130 later, an hour and 10 minutes later, and they have no clue what they've done whatsoever. So when I moved to this town, I was like, I got to find me a barber. Like I want a dude that I can just get in there, get down and dirty, get my hair cut, get out in 20 minutes, go home and style it. Don't give a shit. Let's go. Right. And so I drove by this little tiny building and I picked up the phone, and what happened next?
See, that was the whole thing. Because even though I answered your phone call, I still had no intention of cutting your hair when you got there, like at all. Period. Point blank. I was like, nope. Okay, so this lady's coming in. She wants a haircut. I'm not doing it. Like you sent ripples through the shop because I was even now, women will walk in and I'll be like, okay, you're waiting for one of them. I'm not sorry. No, there's like maybe 3 women I do. That's it. You were the first one. Period. Yeah. Even my wife goes to Teresa. Hands down. Well, I tried doing her hair. I was like, you're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like how I do it. She's like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I did it twice. I was like, you know what? I'm taking you over there. So Teresa cut her hair one time. She's like, yeah, that's it. You're not cutting my hair anymore. I'm like, that's right. It's so hard.
But when I remember when we sat down, you're like, hey, I can cut a haircut, put it on anybody's head. But not many.
You called me out though. Yeah, because you sat in my chair. You're like, listen, I know what I want for a haircut. I think you can do it. Are we going to start this relationship or not? And I was like, well, shit, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh my God. Right on.
Right on. Right for the throat. I was like, well, I guess she called me out. I can't really back down now.
Well, I remember saying to you, it's just hair. Like, let go of it.
Right.
I mean, come on, Ziggy. I'm like, Jesus, mutilated. I'll be back in 4 weeks. But it was our energy and our connections. What we talked about in this book, right? It's like, it's just like-minded people end up flowing to like-minded people. And if they don't, they go down the river, have a nice day, and they find some other rock to hang on to, I think. But the difference between a barbershop and a hairdresser or a salon, whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to say it like it is. Barbershop's my hangout, man. And I've gone to both places where you're telling your stories, or you feel like you've had a rough day, or you're counseling, or most of the time they were telling me their shit. And I'm just like, oh my God, free coaching, like all the time.
Yeah.
But It is just like whatever that sitcom show is where you walk in. I can't even think of it. You guys, there's 10 chairs. Most of the time in a salon, nobody's talking to anybody, or you're in a room by yourself. But there's 10 guys, some kids are hanging out and they're like, next, everybody's talking about like real life, real crap, no juicy, stupid stuff. So some of the stories that you have told in this book, you just pulled 3 out of a hat. You have 3,000. So give them a tip of like what your philosophy is on just listening to people in your chair.
I think the hardest part about it that I had to get a hold of was just shut up, because like you want to help everybody, and I'm a natural talker. Like that's why you and I feed off each other so easy, because we can just go 1,000 miles and be in 15 different topics in a matter of 45 seconds, and we're like, yeah, we had a great talk. But everyone else is like,
love you, bye.
The hell were they saying to each other? Like, what happened? But I think what it was is I just have to. People don't. They kind of put value on someone that's just gonna do just that. Just sit there and shut up, and then once you can tell, you learn to catch a vibe, like when they're done and they're kind of looking for some feedback. And that was probably the hardest thing to pick up on, is when that time was. But the more you do it, the better you get at it, and it kind of happens naturally. When I started, my father had the shop. We were in South Fort Myers at the time, and there was an 80-year-old man from South Weymouth, Massachusetts that was chair 2. He came with the shop and my dad bought it. Eddie, I mentioned him. And him and my dad, man, were like the coolest mentors in the world, because I was an only child. So my dad was always my best friend, like period. But there was also a very narrow line I knew to toe. It went from like dad, best friend, to disciplinarian. So I was really good at walking that line.
Right.
Where Eddie was like a father figure for my dad. And Eddie kind of had my back, because me and my dad would go at it. We didn't really know, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we didn't know where to differ, house life from work life. And then Eddie would know my dad was kind of riding me, and he'd just look over and be like, leave the kid alone. And then all of a sudden, like the whole shop would go quiet, because like Eddie spoke with authority. And we're like, oh, he's 80. We're gonna shut up. This guy was in World War II. He could probably kill us with his thumb. Like, he would never do it. He was the nicest person on the planet, but there was just a certain level of unmentioned respect. And he was the one that taught me to use, really work the scissors. And he helped my father too. Like the two of them really, I kind of fed off of them, because Eddie had guys he was cutting their hair for 40 years. Can you imagine that? Like my dad had a guy. He had like 5 generations come in, because he mentioned this guy was 80 years old, had jet black hair, and had one white skunk stripe right just on the offset of his hair, or his hairline there. And he's like, yeah, we got 5 generations of it. My dad's like, there's no way. It comes from, your hair gene comes from your father's mother. One day that old man showed up with 5 generations. Every single person had it. It was awesome. The coolest one by far was the granddaughter. She was like maybe 10, and she had real long hair, jet black hair, and she had, where her bangs were, she'd part it. So she had 2 snow white bangs hanging out either side. It was the cutest thing. So just like little things that you pick up, and then much later on, like the full thing hits you. And that's when you're right. You can either write, if it's such a momentous thing that happens in the shop that you don't want to forget it. I don't care if it was scrap paper, toilet paper, paper towel, neck strip. I didn't care. I was jotting key points down. And then once I had those key points, I can rebuild it when I get home. And that was always, I learned that it's 2 times to do it. Either wait and reflect later on, or that weekend, or whatever. Or you'll be walking through a store and you'll see the back of somebody's head, and you'll think of someone in your chair. Like, hey, that looks like so-and-so. Oh, this happened. Bam, 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 bam. It's just, it's crazy. Yeah.
Somebody like you that's exposed to so many people, so many people in a rapid fire, you guys. Like, think about a profession out there that you have a conversation with someone every 15 minutes, day after day after day for 20 years, closed on Sunday, Monday, maybe. And different. And yeah, some of us come back. I get that. But the amount of people, the amount of situations, the amount of personalities, the amount of medical conditions you hear about and generational curses and all of this stuff,
Oh my God,
like
yeah.
wealth of knowledge you are, like novels of knowledge that you've
Yeah.
been exposed to.
It's to the point where I can pretty go into any neighborhood and relate.
Right.
And I mean that. I've had literal days where I have a sergeant of a military to a sheriff to a multiple felon, and they will
Right.
sit there in the same place,
That's
eyeing
right.
each other up, be like, "We know, but we're neutral. Like this is a place that we're just here to do our thing, talk our shit, and go home."
Yeah.
Like it's just, and you get exposure to all these communities via the people in the chair. So your roundedness, like you have the confidence to go anywhere. And I that didn't hit me till probably 5 years ago. I was in New York City for Comic Con because I'm a big nerd. Took the wrong train, ended up downtown, like downtown Brooklyn, 2 a.m. by myself.
Shut up.
And I come out and there's the gnarliest of people that you expect to find in the seediest parts of New York City sitting around this train station. And this one dude walks up to me. He's kind of looking me up and down, getting closer. I'm like, oh, here, this is how I die. Here we go. This is everything the movie's taught me. And he goes, yo, man, you got a lighter? And I'm like, yeah. I just kind of kept looking around. He's like, you gonna let me use it? I said, "It all depends. You gonna give it back?" And he kind of looks, he took a step back. He's like, yeah, I'll give it back. And this dude looked like a dude that could shake me by my ankles and take the change out of my pockets if he wanted to. And there's people just kind of looking around. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is how it starts. So he gives me my lighter back. He's like, that's it, huh? I was like, yeah. I don't know what else you need, but you got my lighter, so can I have it back? It's like, it's my only one, dude. And he's like, all right, man, you're good. And then all of a sudden, I felt all the eyes off me. Like it was just like this sudden pass, like, oh, you're cool.
Yeah.
And I would usually when I go to a new place, if I want to get my finger on a pulse, the first place I'll ask for is to go to the barbershop. Any new city, go to the barbershop. You want to know anything, you ask 4 locals. You see nice haircuts. Hey man, where you get your haircut at? And they'll tell you. They'll be, go over here, go over to this guy, go over to this guy, and you go down there. But hey man, what is there to do? I'm not from here. Give me some ideas. And they're usually the coolest, most generous, honest people because they see everything.
Oh my, the Ziggy, that is the most profound advice that you could possibly give anybody. Because, I walk around our town and it's a small little fishing village. And I mean, I know I'm an eyesore, let's be clear. And wherever I go, and someone asks me where I get my hair cut, whether they even know Ziggy Salvation personally or not, just the fact that you say you go to a barber shop, they're always asking, where is it? What are your thoughts about being a woman going there? Whatever. And you just brought something home. That is one of the places that I feel the safest in this town. I can park in the parking lot and I feel safe. I go in and I feel safe. I don't feel judged. There's no crap in there. And you could learn like where the museum is, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Go to the barber shop.
The thing too is
That's so cool.
the owner prides himself. And so I don't know how much you know about him, but I went to barber school with his daughter 20 years ago. That's how I found this place. Between that place and my wife, back when her and I were just online friends, she used to send me pictures. She look at this cute little barbershop because it reminded her of the one I had in New York. Just I had a single chair, middle of farm town, tiny hole in the wall barbershop. It was awesome. And she goes, look how cute this little place is. Ha ha ha. And then like a few years into the talking, she's like, what if we ended up dating long distance? And if you were a snowbird, you could work here. Ha ha ha. And then come to find out when things got serious and we were going to get married and all that, that I reached out to my friend I went to school with. I said, hey, is your dad still owning the barbershops? Like, is he hiring? Because I'm moving down there. She goes, yeah. She sent me the picture, and my wife's job, I cracked the tile. So I come down, proposed, and then met my boss like that weekend. And he's been there forever, but he's one of the few people on this planet I can genuinely say, aside from my family, like he's the only one that will give you the shirt off of his back in the middle of winter in a blizzard and never ask for a thing back. just because he's that kind. So that has resonated through the community. Like, even if, like, everyone comes to us because of that. Like, it's genuine love that he puts out, and we all try to do the same. It's just it's addictive. It's
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Go find your local barbershop, man. What's the youngest client that you've ever had, and what's the oldest, and I'm sure there's similarities in every single thing that every behavior, everything, but youngest and oldest.
I've had a 6-month-old that is just, they've got more hair than a werewolf. Like, honestly, God, like, I've seen 6-month-old kids with like hair to their shoulders.
Really?
And they're easy because they don't know what the hell's going on. You know, the hardest part of their day is filling their diaper. Like, they don't know noises enough yet. They don't know anything. It's the second haircut that usually freaks them out, because they remember the first time. They're like, hey, I didn't really like this last time.
Yeah.
And the oldest, I had a guy, I think he's 104, I want to say.
He still had hair?
Oh, yeah. He had a whole lot, believe it or not. And you would never know he was 104. Kind of like the guy we have at our shop. He's 90, but he looks 70.
You have a gentleman that cuts hair that's been there for...
The guy who shares my chair.
Is he the one you're talking about?
He's 90. He'll be 91 in December.
Shut up.
I know. He looks like he's 70 years old. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
he was in the paper and everything. Yeah, he looked amazing. Sharp as a tack. Like, dude doesn't miss a beat. He can tell you what he made the anniversary of every day that he works from, like, 3 years ago. Well, 3 years I made this much. 2 years I made this much. 5 years I made this much. Like, he's on it. He's on the ball. Yeah.
You know, that environment when you're in, I was in talking to you a while back, when you reach out to me and you say, Peggy, you're looking shabby on air. Let's drive 2 miles. See me? But I'm like, I can't. But the type of book that we wrote, this Chicken Soup of the Soul multi-author book or whatever, your environment, we were chit-chatting when I was in there this last time, your environment is like the most awesome environment for a book like this, because it reminds me of those old, which we have in this town also, those old kind of cafes where this, those little newsletters pass around on the tables when somebody's eating their $1.99. And a book like this with 43 stories, 44 stories, of course, yours is in there, and you talk about 3 or 4 different, barbershop behind the barbershop stories. An environment like that is the greatest place for a diverse read that exemplifies a diverse audience, which I never thought about, that you have every day at work. Every day you go in, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's coming.
That's the best part about it. Oh my God, is that the best part about it? That single-handedly has probably kept me doing it for as long as I have. Not even kidding. Monotony is absolutely my worst enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the story? Can you think? I know there's probably many, but what's a tearjerker? I don't want to make you cry, but what's a tearjerker story you've heard from standing behind the barber chair?
Ooh. Well, from a customer aspect or from a personal aspect?
Lord, I ain't writing the script. This is freewheeling. You
I think one of the hardest ones was towards the end of owning our shop, when my dad just started having some health issues, because he's retired. He had some issues going on, and there was a way they were trying to figure it out. But one that was particularly tough is he had straight up sideways turning vertigo for 2 years. 2 years. It wasn't crystallization in the ear. It wasn't anything like that. What had happened was he had gotten a sinus infection. For whatever reason, the virus had gone to the auditory nerve and just twisted it up. And because it infected that nerve, it gave his entire equilibrium a shift. So there wasn't a time where he could walk in a straight line. He appeared hammered anywhere he went. At first, guiltily so, I will admit that we all kind of screwed with him a little bit in a really not nice way, because we thought, okay, he's got a head cold, it's going to go away, he won't be dizzy anymore. We didn't understand the severity of it. So, like, I remember one night we were outside of an Italian restaurant. Me and my grandfather were kind of going like this, like just standing still, just going like this back and forth, and he about dropped. because you see him brace himself and like he just goes white. And we're like, oh, this is serious. And so what happened was he was going through all these things, and my father's very much a perfectionist in the best of ways. And the customer had come in and said, well, he says, you know what I did for mine was I cut sodium out of my diet. And my dad was like, oh, I like salt on everything. Yeah, we could probably cut back on the sodium. Why not? So we also had air hoses in our shop.
Right.
Helps. It's awesome for sanitation, this and that. So, and when I say he's perfectionist, my father didn't cut a little bit of sodium out of his diet. He cut it all out of his diet completely, like nothing. Totally forgot he was on a water pill at the same time. So he's working on my airline, and I'm sitting in my chair, and I hear the phone ring, and I know he's on his knees behind me, and I hear him click the phone on, but I didn't hear hello. And I look back, and he's going over. He's just collapsing. So I somehow, in my largeness, got around my chair, and my dad's built a little bit like me, probably 50 pounds lighter. And I got around the chair, caught him, and he was just unresponsive. Picked him up, threw him over my shoulder like a fireman, threw him in my truck. Thank God we lived 2 blocks away. Got to the house. My grandmother lived down the road. She was an LPN forever. So she met us down there. He was just kind of coming to as he was standing up. And he sat back down. And what was happening was he would sit down, and his blood pressure would just bottom out. That shook shockwaves through that was the first real time I thought, holy shit, I might lose one of them.
Professionally and personally, it affects you because you work together every day, all day.
Oh yeah. And he was always the guy. He always was and still kind of is the superhero. You know what I mean? You don't mean to do it, but like when you're the only kid, like that's the dude. My father was, no matter my entire career path since I was a little kid, was whatever dad did, I was doing. Point blank period. He worked at a dairy one time. I was like, oh, I'm gonna lift milk when I'm a kid. He worked at a paper mill. He was a boiler operator, 140 degrees, 16-hour days. I was like, I want to be a boiler operator. I remember picking up his fireman's like learning about pneumatics, or thinking I was at like 7 years old, flipping through this little green book that just had highlighter all over it. Little did I realize it was about pressures, this, that, and the other. And I was always that guy. So not only was I losing my dad, but I was losing my best buddy. You know what I mean? And that was the first, because none of us knew what the hell was going on. So that was probably, and then what happened was we ended up going to the hospital, and they did the old skin pinch test to check dehydration, and they pinched him, and they would let go. His skin stayed there.
Right.
He was that dehydrated. So he went through 2 bags of saline, or 4 bags of saline. They kept him overnight, brought him home. He slept 19 hours.
Yeah.
Like solid. I was like, he's not going to wake up. Like that was it. That was too much for the brain, too much dehydration. This is the beginning of the end. Well, after that, he wakes up, and not to get preachy, but we're big faith people. And that I'll leave it at that. And then he sat up, and he's sitting there, and I come in, I'm like, oh my God, hey, what's going on? He's sitting there, he's going like this. This, and we're like, stop, man, you're gonna start getting dizzy.
Right.
He's like, no, look, no, I'm good. Gone.
No, shut up.
Now here's the phenomenon. Okay, on paper,
you're bringing us home here. 30 minutes.
The auditory nerve damage is still there on paper. And to me,
huh?
Go. You're talking to me. Oh, so the auditory nerve damage is still there medically. He, by doctor standards, should be still vomiting every day, sick like he was, but he's not. No one can explain it. So that entire interaction was probably the tear jerkiest thing ever, because it was that moment of collapse, seeing everyone in the shop kind of gather around, like they're losing this pillar of this small community we have. And for months, we just had people checking. They were so. There was a lot of judgmentals, like, why can't you just get to work? Just give me a freaking haircut. Like, we get some bad, as much as the good, but the good far outweigh it. Makes sense.
All right, Ziggy, man, this has been a blast. I could talk to you all day long, and I know people would love to listen to you all day long. You're such a cool dude. You have so many things to offer. You're never, ever, ever. I mean, we joke with each other that we're never at a loss for words, but we have shit to talk about. So we have a lot of people we're in touch with. So I love talking to you. We're going to offer a couple of things. So starting today, with this minute I'm talking to you, for the next 48 hours, you guys can hop on Amazon.com and get a Kindle version of the book for $1.99. For the next 48 hours, this 1.4 pound book you will not have to carry, Holmes can put it on your Kindle, $1.99. The other thing, until the end of September, if you buy a book on Amazon and you email me at peggy@allthingswellness.com, I will autograph a book and send you a free book. You can give one away. We're calling it buy one, give one. So BOGO, buy one, give one. And we're doing that for up to 5 books a day. I'll put everything in the comments section. And that's how we end our episode today.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. Tonight at 6:30, I'm coming back at you with Nini and Sylvie, 2 other authors. And today also at 5 to 6 o'clock tonight, Conversations That Matter with Teresa Velarde. And then, it's a busy day, 9 to 10 o'clock tonight with Dreams Vision. You can catch Kat Canavas, who is actually interviewing myself, James Redfield, who wrote the foreword for the book and wrote Celestine Prophecy, and Dr. Pat Basili, who owns Transformation Talk Radio. Bye, everybody. Bye, Ziggy. See you soon.
See ya. Bye.